Okay, welcome everybody. My name is Dr. Tina Yang, and I'm from Coastal Acupuncture and Natural Health Center. Thank you everybody for joining us today for this exciting workshop with Julie Russell. Julie Russell is a mentor and a teacher of mine. I can't even remember how many years we've known each other, but I know that we've probably known each other for lifetimes. And Julie is a senior licensed Reiki Master teacher, and she has so many gifts and so many certifications. We were just talking about it and kind of laughing about, what to talk about. But to just give you a little bit of background, Julie's actually has a nursing background, and she is a corporate director for 9 outpatient mental health facilities and programs throughout Los Angeles and Orange County. But she's also an amazing Reiki master and teacher. And I don't even know if I can call this your part-time job, being a Reiki master and teacher, because I just feel like you give so much love and devotion and time to this practice. And a few of Julie's talents include past life regression therapy. She's also a certified quantum healing hypnotherapist as well. And she also is trained in the Holy Fire Reiki specialty as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Julie to talk a little bit more about her background and to also discuss some of the health and healing benefits of Reiki and how it can help us reduce some stress and anxiety and improve our overall health. So thank you so much, Julie, for being here today.
Okay, well, thank you guys for coming. So I'll just tell you a little story about myself. Like Tina said, I've been a nurse, I hate to say, for over 40 years, a long time. I've always been super interested in healing, and was a very conventional type healer in the medical realm for many years. But I always felt like there was more. I always felt like we were missing something, but I didn't even know what that meant. And so 18 years ago, I took my first Reiki class, and it changed my life. That's when I realized that there were other ways to heal myself and to help others. It also helped me to learn about energy and how I could work with a very high vibrational energy, where I could be a conduit to help people be able to relax on every level of who they are. And knowing that when the body is super relaxed, healing can occur. At first, when I first learned Reiki, I thought it was the kookiest thing I'd ever heard of. I thought maybe someone just has a really good imagination. Could this be real? And so for probably the first year after my class, because it was such a profound experience for me, I started doing Reiki on anything or anyone that would let me, just to see what would happen. And so I became like a Reiki researcher. I would tell my friends and colleagues, I've learned this Japanese technique for stress reduction and relaxation. Would you be willing to let me try it on you and see how it works, or if you think it's of benefit? And I had so many amazing experiences that I fell in love with Reiki. So then from there, I kind of over time, I started a private practice, and then I started teaching. And I've been with 3 different schools of Reiki. So there's quite a few different schools of Reiki. We call them lineages. I always say they're like pedigrees or something. But it kind of tells you where the history of your Reiki came from. I always tell my students, Reiki is a beautiful energy of, to me, like divine love. That's what it feels like when I'm channeling the energy. And it's like a radio station. There's, Reiki energy is a beautiful, healing, loving, light energy, but there's different songs of Reiki. So different schools would be a different lineage. They're all Reiki, but they all have just a slight little fingerprint of difference to them. So for me personally, because I'm always the one that wants to look under the curtain and know more, I've been with 3 different schools over the years, and then about 10 years ago, I went with the International Center for Reiki Training. So that's the school of Reiki that I'm a senior licensed Reiki master teacher with. And what that means is they offer a number of different types of programs that you can train in. And one of them is what I call for Reiki fanatics like me, where it's a 4-year program where you deeply immerse yourself into Reiki, and you have a mentor teacher, and you go through a lot of different steps to really go deep into the practice. Not that you have to do that to be a very wonderful practitioner, you don't. But that was just what I wanted to do because I'm always wanting to know more. So probably the other thing that Reiki's done is, for me, is that it expanded my interest in other complementary and alternative medicine practices. So Reiki is kind of my mainstay. That's the practice I like and use the most. But it's guided me to learn a lot of other different modalities too. So things like sound healing, crystal healing, hypnosis, guided imagery, EFT. I'd also, if people are interested in things like intuitive development, when I took my first Reiki class and someone said, well, follow your intuition, I was like, well, what do you mean by that? I don't even know what that means. Because I was a very Western medical, linear-minded person. But Reiki has also, for me personally, made me a highly intuitive person. So that was kind of something that never even crossed my mind because I had never even heard of intuitive development or reaching higher states of awareness. The only word I'd ever heard in my psychology background is self-actualization, which I would now say, if that's something of interest to you, that's another thing that Reiki does, is it really makes you understand the multi-dimensions of who you are. You're not just a body and a mind. You're so much more. You're a spiritual being that has great capacities. What I love about Reiki is that it's an energy modality that will help you learn and grow and learn more about yourself and about the world around you. And or if you want to develop intuitive abilities, it will definitely do that for you.
You know, Julie, if I could just chime in for a second.
Yeah.
When I first met Julie, it was, I want to say it's about 6 or 7 years ago. And we had actually had an acupuncturist working with us that had incorporated Reiki into her practice. And we always thought, oh, that's such a great combination. And then she parted ways, started her own practice. And so my partner, Dr. Tang, and I decided, we should probably get Reiki certified. Let's check out some teachers. So Dr. Tang did some research and she found Julie, who happened to be not too far from my house. And she said, why don't you check her out? And I thought, you know what, this looks great. And so I think I remember calling you and saying I wanted to come in for a treatment first, because I figured before I dive into some type of program, I definitely need to receive a treatment first from my teacher. And at the time I had been going through some personal stress and I was having some anxiety issues, and I had convinced myself that I had hypertension, and it was really all in my head. But I think the main cause of that was really just the high level of stress that I was under at that time. So I really didn't know what to expect, but I came in, met Julie, and her treatment changed everything for me. It totally shifted me out of a state of fear and anxiety to a place of peace and calm. And so as soon as I experienced her Reiki treatment, I immediately signed up for, like, I don't know, probably every single class that you were teaching at that time. And so what I originally started off with had turned into a quest for self-healing. How can I bring peace and calm to my life to help me stay balanced as, a working mom, a business owner, and, all of the different things that life throws your way. And so that's actually why I started taking the class, not just to bring it into the practice to help my patients, but to also help myself. So when patients ask me, do you get acupuncture all the time? My answer usually is, I actually receive Reiki more often than I do acupuncture. And it's from Julie, and it has completely shifted my life. So I just wanted to share my story too, and what led me down the road to seek out Reiki for myself, as well as the training program. So thank you, Julie, for sharing your wisdom and just, all of your expertise and your love and support.
I think what Tina says is pretty accurate of what myself, and I mean, now I've probably trained thousands of people over the years, but it is a life-changing modality. And the part that's so funny about it is it's very simple. It's not a complicated modality. It's something that you can learn the basics over a weekend, and then you just work with the energy. And then I always tell my students, just try it on everything. Use it for everything in your life and watch the magic happen. And over time, you will see so many things shift, and including, and I was like Tina, I was a stressed out nurse. So when I didn't even know what the class was. I thought it was like a trigger point therapy class or something. And I got there, and then all these wild experiences happened that were so beautiful. And then over time, things started shifting. And I always say, I feel like I won the lottery, because what probably the one thing I would say personally for me is that peace and calm that Tina's talking about.
Mhm.
I know how to reach that. Where I would say before Reiki, as much as I knew in my linear mind, um, I, I had a hard time resetting myself at times when things would come up in my life. And with Reiki, especially now, it's been, over the years, things don't upset me very much. Or if they do, I always say I'm like a Teflon pan. They don't stick. So that's so freeing. It's not that I never get upset or I never get angry or I never get worried, but it doesn't last long and it doesn't stick. And that gives you, it's so, I don't even know how to put it in words. It's so helpful. It makes your life so much better.
Yeah, and it's very empowering too, because
Mhm.
then you know what to turn to when you find yourself stuck in a situation where, you might have been reactive in the past, but now you
Right.
have the tools to shift yourself out of it and have a different perspective. So for me, I feel like it's been really great for just coping in general and dealing with stress and preventing stress too from affecting me. And for those of my patients that I have done Reiki on, it's been an amazing complement to acupuncture. Really being able to integrate the two modalities has been, I mean, I can't even describe it into words. It's just been so profound, and the effects of the two combined together, it really takes that relaxation to the next level, and really helps to down regulate the nervous system for patients,
Yep.
much more than just acupuncture on its own. So but I do have a question for you, Julie. What are some of the common things that you treat as a Reiki master? What are some of the things that you've had the most experience with, or you've seen um, great success with in treating?
Well, it's funny because if you go on my website, I put that I'm a nurse, but I don't put that my specialty is mental health.
Hmm.
But the majority of people that come to me usually come for mental health reasons. So depression, anxiety disorders, sleep problems, trauma,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, things like that, depression. I do get some medical people, but not as many as I would have thought. But again, I always feel like Reiki has intelligence. It's an energy that comes from source, and it will guide the people to you that are supposed to come to you. So that seems to generally be a lot of the people. I also work a lot with animals. So that's been something that's happened over the years too, is I do Reiki for animals. Um, and that's been kind of an interesting experience because now I'm able to actually communicate with animals, which I thought, who would ever have guessed I'd be like Dr. Doolittle? That seemed like the oddest thing in the world, but that's what's happened with me with Reiki. So I also get animals, or I get people that I get a lot of my students love animals. They learn Reiki because they want to help their animals. So that's another thing that's lovely. Um, let's see, what else? Sometimes children, I get children, sometimes families. Sometimes people want their whole family to be Reiki attuned, which we'll talk about what that means, so that it can be a practice that they do as a family. to give love and light to each other in a very like beautiful way.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I like that too. Teaching Reiki to kids is super fun. They get it. To them, it's no big jump at all. Not like with me. Like, are you kidding me? I thought it was so weird. But when I teach children, they're so probably unsocialized yet. They don't know that. What do you mean? I can channel beautiful energy and I can make people feel relaxed. And then they might heal from their mental, emotional, or physical problems. And but yeah, they children love Reiki. I also get a lot of parents that come because their children are sick and they don't know what to do and they're stressed out. So they come to learn about Reiki and to de-stress, and then they might take a class, and so they can give Reiki to their sick family member, things like that. I do get a few chefs, people that have restaurants that say, I want to see what Reiki's like. And then I say, well, you can use Reiki to bless your food. They call it intentional cooking.
Love
and
that.
the intention behind everything you do, you leave a fingerprint of what you're doing. And so I have had a few people that have intentional kitchens and they learn Reiki so that they put love and light into everything they make. Same with gardeners. I get some people that want to have the best garden in town and they come to learn how to give Reiki to their plants in their garden, things like that. So you name it, I've probably had it over the years. I have worked with some cancer patients. And usually that's the other thing is Reiki is very complementary to any other kind of medical treatment that you're doing. So it can, again, if you even think of it in the most simplistic terms, when the body is deeply relaxed, it has great intelligence itself. And when the body's relaxed and when the mind's relaxed, then healing can happen. So it can also help to restore the body. It actually is an energy that will go into the ki or the chi of the body, and it will break up blocks, it will break up congestion, it will replenish and restore areas that are depleted. So in some ways, it's somewhat similar to acupuncture without needles, except, and you can do it with either hands-on, where we don't manipulate tissue, but we gently touch the skin, or you can hover several inches away from the skin. Oh, there's a puppy. Or you can do it from a distance, like we're going to do tonight. Or you can do it sitting across the room. I also get a lot of moms that like to learn Reiki because it's a great technique for soothing children or to calming children because you can send Reiki with your hands, your eyes, or your breath. So if you're a mom with small kids and you think, oh, I wish I could just get these kids to calm down a little, you could just, sit there and lovingly gaze at your child and send them.
Oh, I need to practice that more often with my kids. Does it work on teenagers too?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Except usually they feel it and they'll go, Mom, I know what you're doing right now.
That's exactly what my teenagers would say.
Yeah.
Mom, are you doing some hippie treatment on me again?
That's probably the other two things I would say, or three things about Reiki that people often ask is Reiki will never cause harm and it never goes against free will. So it's not about you going, oh, I know what you need, Reiki. Let me come over. You need this real bad. Mm-hmm. No, the person has to be receptive and wanting it. Do they have to believe in it? No, they don't have to believe in it. It's not about a belief system. It's just about giving permission and allowing it to happen. It's also not a religion. It is a spiritual practice, however, because you're working with a spiritual energy in whatever name you call it. And so that's the other thing I love about Reiki is that it's available to everyone. It transcends any kind of dogma of any type of religious or spiritual practice. It's open to all of mankind, whoever's interested in it. And so let's see, any other questions? How about questions you guys have? Has everybody here had a Reiki session before? Anybody not have one? Oh, okay. So I don't have to say what it's about. You must have already liked it, or you wouldn't be here tonight.
There is a question that came in through the chat box. Can you do remote healing?
Yes, which is what we're going to do tonight. So one of the things that's very exciting at the International Center of Reiki Training is that we've always been able to do what's called long distance sessions. So that's part of what you learn in a Reiki 2 class. That's pretty traditional no matter what school of Reiki that you're involved with. And that's where you basically get a symbol. So one of the things that's unique to Reiki is that you get healing symbols they're like keys that have specific ways that they can work with the Reiki energy. And one of the symbols that you get attuned to that you can use is one that transcends space and time. So you can use it to connect to anybody or anything. In present time, you can also use it. What's beautiful about it is you can use it also for the past or the future. So if you want to send Reiki to the past, let's say you have some trauma from the past, you can send Reiki to the past to release energy that's been trapped due to trauma. You can also send Reiki to the future. If there's like today, I went to the dentist. Guess what I did on the way? I sent Reiki to the dentist office, and I Reiki'd the office before I got there, and I Reiki'd it a bunch of times, and I did Reiki the whole time the dentist was working on me. Which was very helpful because it helped to keep me calm. I do not like to go to the dentist. So that's the other beautiful part of it is you can work in what we call the fifth dimension. So past space and time, which in the beginning, when I first learned that, I thought, that is the kookiest thing I've ever heard. But now in medical science, we know with all the new science that's out now that we are all energetically connected. This is not just something that's metaphysical anymore. This is medical, or this is physical science now, that we know that we're all interconnected and that we can connect with each other. So Reiki was kind of ahead of its time, or at least in the West. In the East, all of this is pretty, if I get students from like India or from the East, they'll say, Julie, we learned this when we were 5 years old. Mm-hmm. And I always say, well, I came from the Midwest of Ohio. We didn't learn any of this kind of stuff. So this was really, out there for me. I would say the other thing I like about Reiki, if you're interested in a good, solid learning about energy itself and how energy works and how to work with energy, how to clear things, how to protect things, how to understand how energy affects you, and how to understand how you're always sensing energy. A good Reiki class will give you some real good foundation in just energy work in particular, not just about Reiki, because Reiki is one of many types of energy therapies. There's a lot of them now.
There's a comment that came in that I just wanted to talk about a little bit more is how you were talking about how Reiki can be applied to the past and the future. And so one of the guests said, that's super interesting. So is it something that you can use? Can you send Reiki to your past self, like your child self, to help like heal?
That's so interesting, because I was just reading an article today that I had never done with a client, but I'm going to do it on a couple of people with childhood trauma. There was, let me show you this here. So the other thing that our center has is we have a magazine. This is probably the only magazine for Reiki. It comes out 4 times a year, and people from all over the world write articles. And there was a beautiful article in this magazine from a therapist who does exactly that. And she works with people with childhood trauma. And she talked about how she sends Reiki to the inner child so that the inner child can be healed and can release the trauma that is stored within the part of the inner child within all of us. We all have an inner child within us.
That's amazing.
So yes, absolutely. You can also send send Reiki down the timeline to any events or any situations that you would like to have the energy cleared. Because we now know, even in medical science, that especially with trauma, that there is energy that is trapped in the physical form, that if it is not released through different energy modalities, not just including Reiki, it can be other things like yoga, movement therapy, acupuncture, EFT, or EMDR, that we now know with severe trauma how it affects people long term, which includes heart disease, hypertension, depression, chemical dependency disorders, and it also will take about 20 years off your life. That's now medical science. Of the importance of releasing trauma. And so many of us have trauma. I mean, part of being on the earth, things happen. Some of us have more trauma than others, but knowing that, now knowing what it does, that wasn't really common knowledge in the medical field until I would say the last eight years or so. And now we have lots of evidence-based research about how trauma therapy is so important. I don't know that they recognize Reiki per se, because there hasn't been enough research yet in the medical field on Reiki, but I know from my own experience that it's very effective on trauma, very effective, because it's an energy modality and it will go in and it will release trauma.
That's so interesting. I think we all need to send some Reiki energy to our our inner child, you know.
Child, right?
Yeah.
All of us have things that happen as a child.
Yeah. Whether we're conscious or unconscious.
More complicated than others. But yeah, absolutely.
Well, so a couple more questions for you, Julie. Are you currently seeing clients virtually?
So I'm currently seeing clients virtually, but I'm not seeing clients in person, not until I get the vaccine.
Okay. And what is the best way for everybody to reach you? Through your website?
So the best way is to text or call me on my phone, which is 949-370-7592.
7592. 370-7592.
And then if you're interested in classes, I do teach Reiki 1 and 2. I teach the master class, and I teach what's called Karuna Reiki, which is a very highly advanced Reiki system. It's called the system of compassionate action. And I teach all of those classes through the International Center of Reiki Training. So you get certified through that center. And the International Center is the largest school of Reiki in the world. We have thousands of members. It's been in existence since the late 1980s.
Wow.
So you can go to reiki.org if you want to learn about the ICRT or the International Center. And my website is reikiorangecounty.org.
And generally, Julie, people start off with like a beginner class, right? A Reiki 1, 2
Usually
class.
it's a Reiki 1 and 2 class, and it's 2 full days of training. And I do some classes on Zoom and some in person. So right now, because of the stay-at-home orders, I'm doing Zoom classes like we're doing today. And then once the stay-at-home order is no longer happening, then I'll do classes again in my home in Ladera Ranch. While we have COVID, I've been keeping my class sizes at 5. Once COVID is no longer a problem, then I take up to 12 students in class.
Okay. Wonderful. I went through Julie's program.
Yeah.
I'm actually a certified Reiki master.
That's right.
And I always dream about being able to practice Reiki more in combination with acupuncture.
Yeah.
Maybe one day in my semi-retirement, I'll be able to do that.
Well, I always tell people too, if you've ever wanted to be of service, Reiki's a wonderful way to do that. If you've ever even thought about having a small side business, after your master class, you're able to teach. After your Reiki 1 and 2 training, you're allowed to start giving sessions to the public. I love Reiki, and I love teaching. If you think, oh, that would be fun to teach people, And what you'll find too is that it'll probably expand on itself. That's happened to me over the years. I've taught lots of different classes. I've kind of scaled them down recently, but I teach crystal healing. I teach Reiki drumming. I teach animal Reiki. I used to teach angel therapy. I taught meditation. I taught therapeutic drumming. So it's kind of like once you get started on this, other things will come up, or you'll combine them with Reiki, which is super fun. And people are looking for people to learn from or to have classes from.
Well, I can definitely say, being a student of Julie's, I started with one class, and I think I've taken all of them except your animal Reiki class. And they're all so wonderful. And when you go in for the week, it's usually like a weekend training. Not only are you learning, but you're also receiving treatment too. So it's so wonderful because it's like a healing experience the entire weekend. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's like better than a retreat. So if any of you are interested in starting off with just a beginner's class, even for self-healing, I'd highly recommend it. Even if it's just for yourself.
I would say too, I think the other thing to realize is that it's very profound, even though it's gentle and it's, it's not as tangible as like feeling a pen. But when you go through the process of attuning, so that what happens is that you go through a process where you're attuned to be able to channel this energy. And it literally raises your energetic blueprint. So if you think of quantum physics, we know that everything vibrates at a frequency. And that includes all of us. We all have a frequency. And what happens with Reiki as you're attuned is it raises your energetic frequency, and things that no longer are in alignment with that frequency start to fall off. So that's why people will start to things will start to change in their life, or things that were bothering them, or things that they're ready to heal will be released. And so that's the other nice part is I tell my students, if you want to be of service, even if you never do a session in your whole life, if you're attuned to Reiki, you've raised your vibration and you become like a little light worker in the world. No matter where you go, you bring that vibration of light, which can be very helpful in so many different situations. So, and it's such a simple practice, but it's very profound. It's very profound. It changes you in all good ways from the inside out.
For sure. I can definitely be a testimonial of that.
Yeah, me too. That's why I teach it, and that's why I have a private practice, because I'm forever grateful to Reiki for everything it's done for me personally and for my family, and all the stories my students tell me. I mean, it's just incredible. It's amazing, and it's such a simple thing and so beautiful.
Well, I'm grateful that you're here today to share with us a virtual Reiki experience, Julie. But before we get started, are there any other questions from the guests? Okay. Oh, can you tell us how much a beginner class is and how many classes we need initially?
Oh, okay. So the beginner class is $430. That's for the 2 days of class. And that includes the 2 days of training, the manual from the center, a 1-year subscription to the Reiki News magazine, and then ongoing follow-up and support from me for the rest of your life. The other thing I offer that not all teachers at the center offer, any class that you take from me, you're welcome to come back and retake it at no charge, as long as I have room in the class. Because I really want people to be successful. And also sometimes people just want to go through it again, or they want to have like a retreat for the weekend. As long as I have room, I'm happy to have you. That's a 2-day class. Then 6 months after that, if you're guided to, you can take what's called the master class. And so in the master class, that's a 3-day class. And that's where, again, you have you go through what's called a 3-day ignition process, where your energetic blueprint is raised again, and the Reiki energy is actually installed into your energetic blueprint. I always say it's like if any of you have a Roomba at home, you know what a Roomba does? It goes around and cleans the floor all day long. Well, you get a Reiki Roomba. So for us that love Reiki, it's like, oh, thank goodness. So the Reiki is actually installed into your energetic blueprint so that it's working and helping you all the time. And I always say I'm like a walking, talking Reiki person. I always laugh because when I go to work or something, a lot of my colleagues, some of them know what I do, and some of them know that I do something, but they don't really know what it is. And I always chuckle because they'll say, oh, I just love it when you're here. And I'm thinking, well, I know it's really not about me. It's about the Reiki, because that energy is flowing all around my auric field all the time. And so that makes it kind of fun. And after that class, the other nice thing is that you can do these healing experiences like I'm going to do with you tonight, either as part of a session. You can do it with a group of people. You can do it in person or long distance. And you can also start to teach. If you want to teach Reiki 1 and 2 in a master class, you can teach. And the way that we can teach now with the International Center, you can teach either in person or via Zoom like we're doing tonight. So that makes it nice too if you have family or friends in other parts of the country and they say, wow, I wish I could learn Reiki. You could say, yeah, I can be your teacher. And we can do it virtually, no problem. Then the third class after that, and that class is $1,025. That includes the 3 days of training, the magazine, again, another year. If you took the other one, it would be another year of this. And your certificate from the International Center. We also have what we call the Reiki membership. So if you say, I love the International Center, I want to be part of the organization, for $65 a year, you can join the membership and you'll get posted on the website. They'll put your name, they'll put your email, people can find you if they're looking for practitioners or teachers. And then there's a lot of other perks too. But you have to be a Reiki master and decide that you want to teach these practitioner courses using our outlines and the manuals of the center. The other thing I tell people too, it's not really in our manual, but sometimes Reiki is going to guide you. Even if you become a Reiki master, maybe you won't want to be a practitioner teacher, but maybe you want to incorporate Reiki in other things that you teach. For example, let's say you're a health coach and you're coaching people on healthy lifestyles. Maybe you're doing nutrition, maybe you're doing yoga, something like that. You could develop your own Reiki class, a small miniature Reiki class, and just do a Reiki 1 attunement, so that you could teach people how to do Reiki on themselves. Because some people, my experience, some people want to be practitioners, but some people just want to learn how to do self-Reiki. So we didn't really talk about that. Is, for some of my students, the reason they take it is as a healing modality for themselves, because you can do Reiki on yourself every day, and it helps to keep you healthy and whole and in good alignment. So those are other things to think about too. Is, that's one thing I love about Reiki is it will work with you with your gifts and talents and what things you enjoy in your life. And it has intelligence. So you never know how it might, work with other ways that maybe no one's ever thought of before.
Julie, thank you for sharing all this wonderful information. There was another question that came in through the chat box about, are there any limits or limitations to Reiki and anything you can't heal or can't address?
Well, so far in my experience, the only thing that you can't send Reiki energy to is if it doesn't want it. If you get a no, which is interesting, you learn as you as you build your inner senses, because Reiki is all about going inward, sometimes I may see a situation where I think, oh, I should send Reiki to that situation. I could use some love and light. And when I ask permission, sometimes I get a no. And usually to me, that means it's not the right time, not the right place, or I'm not the right person. And so if I get a no, the Reiki won't turn on and it will not go.
Okay. So it's sort of like a self-regulated modality.
Because it never goes against free will and it never causes harm. And what's funny is I use it so here's another example I would say, let's say in my hospital, let's say you have a job where you have to work with people, right? And get two people together, you always have problems. You don't always get along. So sometimes as a manager, I work with people and I see they're all bickering and fighting and it's not a good situation. Now, wouldn't you think, send Reiki, right? Send Reiki to the situation. Maybe it'll help people calm down and start to understand each other better, etc. Sometimes when I ask Reiki, it'll say, no, this is exactly what these people need to go through. This is what they're here to learn and to grow. And it may look ugly to you, but that's what they need. That's what their soul wants to learn. So you need to stay out of it. It's not needed at this time.
Right. I love it. So Reiki's like self-regulating and self-guided, and it has a feedback mechanism. Right. It's great.
I always say I have the phone number to the universe. Isn't that a nice thought?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what do I know? The more I learn, the less I know. It's like, I just have the phone. Let me talk to the universe and see what the universe thinks about
I love that. So for those of you that haven't looked at the chat box, I actually typed in Julie's website address, which is ReikiOrangeCounty.org, and then her telephone numbers in the chat box as well. So you can reference that if you want to get a hold of Julie. Yes. So what do we need to do to prepare for our virtual Reiki experience, Julie? Is there anything
all you have to do is have an open heart and an open mind, and give permission. So you can lay down, you can sit. I would say make yourself comfortable. This is called a Reiki healing experience. This is very unique to the type of Reiki that I teach, which is Asui Holy Fire Reiki and Holy Fire Karuna Reiki. These are healing experiences, like I said, that you can do with a person, with a group, in person or long distance. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And the one that we're going to do tonight is called a Holy Love Experience. This is where I'm going to call in the energy to work with each one of you, to give you an experience of letting the energy work with you and helping you to feel the love that source or God or the universe, whatever word you use for that, has for you. So your job is just to allow yourself to be filled with this beautiful, loving, compassionate energy. If you have a specific issue or issues that you would like Reiki to help you with, once I get you receptive, feel free to let the energy know what you would like help with. Know that when we're done with this experience, it doesn't mean you're done with the healing. The energy will continue to work with you over the next 24 hours. So what will happen is when the experience is over, it'll be sealed into your auric field. I say we're like an egg. It'll be sealed into your egg, and it'll keep working with you over the next 24 hours. So your job after this session and for the next 24 hours is just notice, like maybe on Saturday morning, just notice if there's been any shifts, any changes, anything that you've noticed either about how you're feeling or about the situation that you might have asked for guidance with or help or healing with. Then you'll see for yourself. Everyone will have a different experience. Some of you will say, I feel like I fell asleep. Some of you may say you went on a journey. Some of you may see colors or lights. Some of you may just feel deeply relaxed. There's no wrong way to do this. It will be exactly what you need for each one of you. The other thing that I always tell people too, what Reiki will do is if there's deep healing that you've given permission to be done, either on a conscious or unconscious level, sometimes Reiki will knock you out. So if you fall asleep, don't feel like, oh, that didn't work for me. That just means that the Reiki got your mental mind out of the way so that it could work more deeply into your subconscious, into your energy fields. So again, like I said, this is the beginning of the session, not the end. It will continue to flow for the next 24 hours. How it works is that you get relaxed. If you want to put on some pretty music that you like, that's perfectly fine. Then I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to get you relaxed and receptive. You can follow along if you like. If I'm telling the story and your imagery or mind goes somewhere else, you go wherever you need to go. So don't feel like you have to, I'm going to take you through a forest and you go, oh no, I'm in the ocean. Then you go to the ocean, you go wherever you're supposed to go. It's not for you to control anything. The more that you can relax and allow with no agenda, the better. Once I'm done with the story, then I will let you sit with the energy quietly for about 15 minutes, and then I will call you back. So if you need to move around, like if you're uncomfortable or you say, oh, I want to lay down, you can make adjustments. The biggest thing is you just want to be relaxed as much as possible. Okay? Any questions before I start? And then we're going to mute everyone so that it'll be quiet. And you can click your picture off if you like, or you can stay on, whatever feels comfortable for you.
Okay, thanks, Julian. I'm going to make you the host now.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Enjoy, everybody.
All right. So when you're ready, you can close your eyes. And let's start by just taking a couple nice, slow, deep belly breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with each breath that you take, just give your body permission to relax and allow. As we ask the Reiki energy to work with each one of us in whatever way is for our highest good, in love, in light, in healing and compassion. Knowing that for right now, there's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to go except just be here right now. Coming back to your breath whenever you need to. Now just allow your brow to relax. And all the little muscles around your eyes just let go. Feeling your mouth and tongue, chin and jaw, relax. And allowing your mind to go deeper and deeper within. Down, down, down. As you feel your neck and shoulders let go. Your arms and hands and fingers relax. And you feel yourself drifting deeper and deeper within. Down, down, down. A sense of peace and calm flowing through you and around you. As your chest and belly let go, all the muscles in your back relax. And your spine comes into perfect alignment. nice and strong and straight. You feel your pelvis and thighs relax, your knees and legs, your feet and ankles and toes. Down, down, down. More and more relaxed, allowing for deep healing to occur. And I want you to imagine that it's a warm and sunny day, and you're walking through a beautiful forest. As you look around, you see the flowers and the plants and the trees all around you. And you notice the vibrancy and the colors. So beautiful. You feel the warmth of the sun against the top of your head, and a slight, gentle breeze moves through your hair. In the distance, you can hear the birds singing to the heavens and the earth. And you can hear a gentle breeze rustle through the leaves of the trees. As you breathe into yourself, you breathe in the life energy of the forest. And with each step that you take, you feel the energies of the earth flowing up through the bottoms of your feet. As you walk a little further down the path, you can feel the trees and the plants and the flowers and grass merge within you. And you feel merged with all of life and with the harmony and the peace of the forest. As you continue to walk along the path, you notice now that up ahead it's getting a little lighter, and you realize that you're coming to the edge of the forest. As you leave the forest, before you is a beautiful river. It's the river of life. As you look off into the distance, you can see beautiful mountains that reach high into the heavens. And you can see as the water flows down from the heavens, down the surface of those mountains, creating waterfalls and prisms of light as it flows down to the earth. And as you look now at the river of life, you see beautiful flowers flowing along the river bank. And you notice a path following right alongside that river. And you decide to follow that path. You eventually come to a bend in the river, and you find a comfortable place to sit or lie down, close enough to the water as it gently flows past you. You can even put your fingers into the cool water if you like. And you notice a light breeze that blows across the surface of the river. You watch as the sun shines off the rippled surface of the water, creating a glittering, shimmering light. As you look a little closer, you realize this is no ordinary light, but a spiritual light that's coming from the highest of the heavens. You watch now as that light moves towards you, and now that light moves over you, and you allow that light to enter your soul. You allow that light to guide you, to heal you, to restore you. Be with that light. Heal in that light. Follow that light. So taking all the time that you need, just feeling your body come back to present time and space. Put your attention on your eyes. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So we thank the Reiki energy for working with us all tonight for this holy love healing experience. So it is. Then when you're back, if you want to unmute yourself, we can share a little bit about anybody who wants to share their experience. If you have a little piece of paper after we're done here, you might even want to write things down. Sometimes they kind of fade over time. Notice what happens over the next 24 hours for you.
I can start, Julie. Julie, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. For me, it was, that's probably one of my favorite experiences, Reiki experiences.
Oh.
And I know that you trained me on that, on sharing that holy love experience, but it's so different when you do it. So I really enjoyed it. And I have to say, it was very calming yet energizing at the same time. You know, I feel very peaceful, yet I feel like I have newfound energy for the evening.
Mm.
So thank you for that. Does anybody else want to share their experience?
I had a lot of imagery of my boys and just playing with them and going through the forest, and I had a picture also with me that I was able to hold, and looking into their smiling faces and sending them love and light, and it was just a really positive experience. It was wonderful.
Oh, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
You have beautiful boys.
Thanks.
How many boys do you have?
I have a 2 and a 5-year-old.
Oh.
Yeah, so they always say, "Mom, you know, when we're not with you, especially my older boy, do you think of me? You know, because I think of you and I miss you. Do you miss me when I'm at school?" And so it's so cute. So I say, I'm thinking of you and I love you. And so I was just sending them some love.
Oh, that's perfect. I have little grandsons that age, and they're funny when they play now. They they don't ask me like what is Reiki. They just kind of know. Like they'll hurt themselves or something, and they'll run up. You know how kids are, and I'll go, "Oh, do you need a Reiki Band-Aid?" And then I put my hand on their whatever, and they'll go, "Okay, I can feel it, Grandma. Thank you."
Yeah.
I love that. A Reiki bandage. That's awesome.
They're so intuitive. Do you ever do sessions with like with a mom and her kids or something?
Yes, I have.
Oh, that's really great.
Yeah.
They would love it.
Yes, they would. Little children, if they're it's so in alignment with them, is what I find.
Yeah.
They totally get it.
They're so intuitive and they have so much empathy. I could see that. They would just pick it up.
And they're really like pure light too.
Yeah.
I feel like they're easily affected by energy work.
Yes, they
just
are.
like with acupuncture, we don't even need to leave the needles in very long for young children. Actually, we don't retain the needles. It's just in and out. And because their energy is so easily accessed, that's all they really need. It's just a few seconds. So
That's a good way to put it. That's my experience too. In fact, it's funny, I get a lot of young moms like you, Jessica, and they learn Reiki and then they use it, especially at bedtime.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple moms call me later and say, they're driving me crazy. They want Reiki all the time. What can I do? And then I say, well, maybe you want to bring them in and attune them so they can learn how to give it to themselves when you're not in the mood.
Great.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Dr.
So,
Yang, when I was coming out of the hospital with my first boy, after my first labor, you made special time, Tina, to see me, and just amazing, such a healing experience from the Reiki that you did. It was amazing.
oh,
Yeah.
that's right. We did have a Reiki bond experience. It seems so long ago now.
That's wonderful.
Yes. Thanks for sharing, Jessica. So one of the participants did say, thank you. I feel so much calmer now.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you. You know what, for me, I'll just share mine because it was I was chuckling. Yeah, I went to the dentist today, which is one of my least favorite things to do. And I had to have this like really awful root canal. And I didn't realize till I did this experience how much trauma my body had. So for me, I just it kept having me blow out the trauma out of my body. I was like, I had no idea, but until I got quiet with myself. And then the Reiki came in, and then I was like, whoa, I'm so glad I did this. So thank you guys for, isn't that funny how this was unplanned that I would go today to the dentist, but it was really at the perfect time because I don't know that I would have sat and done a 20-minute healing exercise on me tonight if it hadn't been for this little get together we had. And boy, did I need it.
I think we all needed it. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Julie, for sharing this virtual Reiki.
Anybody else?
Well, thank you very much. I also enjoyed it. Can you see me or not?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can see your glasses, the tips of your
all right,
glasses.
See your upper half.
Okay.
There we go. There she is.
Is it?
Did you like it, Bertie?
I did very much, yes. I'd like to learn more. Oh, I see. Now you can't see me.
There we go.
That's better. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for doing that.
I have to tell you a funny story, Bertie. When my mom used to live with me when she was in her 80s, and then when she moved in with me, she took all my Reiki classes, and she loved Reiki. Reiki actually healed her once of very serious illnesses, and she always used to love to take Reiki classes and do Reiki because it always felt so good for her.
Yeah.
I think my first Reiki class with you, Julie, your mom was staying
Was
with
my
you.
mom there?
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
She was funny too because she didn't learn Reiki till she was in her 80s, but she never told people that. She always said, I'm Jean Russell and I'm a Reiki master. And then she'd say, they think I'm really good because I'm old.
And she's your and you're her daughter too. That's why. So I'm the mother of Julie, the Reiki master.
Yeah, even though in the beginning she was scared of Reiki, she was like, what is that? But then once she had a session, then I said she never stopped getting Reiki after that. She loved it.
I think everyone should know it in this time.
Yes, it's so lovely, right?
Yeah.
Well, part of it that's nice for me because I've been doing it so long is it's becoming more and more mainstream. I mean, more and more people hear about it. There's over 800 hospitals that offer it in different hospital settings. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's becoming. I don't think it's as well known as yoga, but I always laugh because I remember yoga when I was a young girl. That was really weird stuff. And now it's so mainstream. And that's kind of where I see all these integrative and complementary medicines going. They're becoming more and more mainstream where people they have lots of great choices. Reiki being one of them, but it's wonderful. Kind of like acupuncture was years ago.
Oh, it's so rare now that I'm the first acupuncturist for a patient.
Yes.
Most of my patients have been to several people, and found us through a referral or something like
Uh-huh.
that. So,
Uh-huh.
but when I started practicing 18 years ago, you had to explain a lot more. You know, it was really fresh and new for most people.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, you're my third acupuncturist. I'm like, great, you're a pro. So it's definitely changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
So once in a while, I'll get my newbies, and I really enjoy it, and it's a lot of fun to educate.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy,
You
did you
both-
want? I'm sorry.
You're both doing good work.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so glad you came, Birdie.
Yeah. So never too old to learn, right?
Right.
No, that's what I say. I have a list a mile long, Birdie, of all the things I want to learn yet before it's time for me to go.
All right. Okay. I shall contact you. Thank you.
How about you, Tracy? Anything you wanted to share? I'm putting you on the spot.
It was lovely. It was when you had us
Yeah.
in the meditation, had us reach into the water and touch the water. I was really there. It was beautiful. So thank you very much. I only have very little experience with Reiki, so I'm so excited to meet you, and I'm going to be taking your one too to start.
Oh, good.
As that
Good
can
to have you.
do that, I can't wait. Tina's been talking about you so much, so
Well, I always say Reiki, that's why I like doing these experiences, because I could talk, all day and night about Reiki, but the best way to learn about it is experience it. Let it show you. Let you feel it, let you experience it. That's the beauty of it, really.
yeah. The first time I ever did Reiki or experienced Reiki was in a yoga class, and I remember after my head was going, whew, whew. It just felt like it was vibrating, and it was the most amazing feeling. So
Yeah.
I'm so interested in learning more. So thank you. This was wonderful.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us tonight to learn more about Reiki and experiencing a virtual Reiki session with Julie. Isn't she amazing?
Let me say one other thing. If anything comes up after the session or you have any questions, feel free to call or text me. No problem. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thanks, Julie. That
Or
would
if
be great.
something really cool happens after the
Yeah.
session, would love to hear about it, because I try to share lots of different examples and experiences with my students, because they're so much fun. It makes it come alive.
I think it's a great time to journal after a Reiki
Mhm.
experience like this,
Yeah.
because everything's just open and your mind's
Yep.
kind of like at this really relaxed theta state. So if
Yep.
any of you guys have time to journal a bit tonight before you go to bed, this would be the perfect time. So thank you again, everybody, for joining
Yes,
us.
thank you. I'm
And
going to
we
give everybody big virtual hugs.
virtual hugs. You guys all have a wonderful evening, and may the Reiki energy continue on for you for many, many days.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.